Alright, welcome everyone to the driving portion of the video here for this auction. This is a 1994 Mercedes-Benz E420, and we're gonna pound around some back roads here for a little bit and just enjoy it. So I'm reading 57,000 miles right now, so it's exactly 57,745 on the odometer. And I am beyond excited to host this car for the MB market. I'm a huge 124 fan. It's probably my favorite Mercedes-Benz. And really what made me fall in love with the brand, sure, my 190E as my first car was you know, really got me into it, but then right after that I bought a special edition E420, and that was the car that solidified my love for these for Mercedes-Benz. And I'm really happy to be in one that has a third of the miles of my first one I ever bought. But yeah, this is really exciting. It's a really cool moment. This is probably one of the nicest E420s left in existence. It's single ownership history. It was down with a family in Columbus, Georgia its entire life. And it's painted in malachite green, metallic over parchment interior. So green on tan, super in vogue right now. And yeah, let's drive this for a little bit. So a lot of people, there's always a narrative with low mileage cars of you know, old rubber bushings and leaky valve covers and, you know, all the rubber bits drying out. This car drove regularly up until about 12 years ago, where the owner who originally bought it passed away. Well, they got into some really bad health issues, and then they passed away, and then retitled it in, I believe, their daughter's name. And yeah, so, and that's the story. I've spent the past let's see, I got it March 8th of 2024, and I've spent since then getting the car super dialed in. And it's finally, I finally feel comfortable enough to list it for auction. So I've done a ton of work to the car. Again, we were talking about the narrative of low mileage cars. This was half true for this one. It being very original, you know, such as original paint, all the original interior, no accident damage, and it being garage kept. First off, it smells insanely good in here. It is super OEM and very new smelling. When I first got in the car, I nearly teared up. We had these when they were new, when I was a kid. My dad and my mom always drove E420s. So getting in this car, it nearly brought a tear to my eye. I'm a huge sucker for nostalgia, and immediately I knew this was going to be a really cool one to get up and running again. But everyone probably has in their heads, oh, 1994, 1995 E420, what about the wiring harness? You're correct. It had original wiring harnesses in here. The upper one was done in 2012. I have a photo of the I guess the SKU number, the part number. There's a piece of paper right where the harness goes into the ECU. And, whoa, I don't know what that was. That was some wood in the road. But so that the upper wiring harness, which goes to all the ignition parts and injectors and everything, that has been done. However, the lowering harness and the harness going to the throttle body was very original. So that was pretty disappointing to see. But luckily I'm pretty good at working on these cars, as is my brother, who is a Mercedes-Benz technician up at DC Motorworks in Alpharetta. Him and we rebuilt both harnesses. So the lower wiring harness, which goes to the fuel sender, the starter, alternator, I'm sorry, oil pressure sender, or oil pressure sensor. There we are. And a couple other things down there. That was original. We rebuilt that, and I have invoices for the parts we used and some pictures. And seeing that harness apart and degrading like that was horrific. It's really truly scary. Everything was shorting. All of the rubber protectors around the actual copper wires were just coming off like confetti. It was a bit of a horror show, but we rebuilt it and installed it, and it works great. So your first signs of that failing is, I believe it's the oil pressure needle will start wobbling like that. Mine was doing that, so I put a new oil sender in it, and then that's when I saw just, it looked like human hair going from the crumbly conduit to all the connectors. I was like, oh no, I've got original lower wiring harness. So that's all fixed. Throttle actuator wiring harness has also been done. We just finished rebuilding that one. That one stumped me, so I had to start cutting into harnesses and try to find what the heck was going on, and voila, we found it. So yeah, all of the harnesses are done. That's the main Achilles heel with these cars, is the original wiring harnesses, especially on low mileage original owner cars. So that's all done. We used some wires. I think it was a 16 or 14 gauge wires originally from the factory. We matched it up with some quality copper, and then for the throttle body we used a wiring harness from Mercedes-Benz. I think it was from an M278 engine, and rebuilt that. So just turn my lights on, all the lights work. I did put a new light switch in here because it wasn't lighting anything up, but new switches in here. As far as interior stuff, the wood, you can tell, it's nearly perfect. There's one little crack in the veneer somewhere. I'll point it out in the walk around video, but there's like no UV damage on this burr walnut. It's kind of insane. Original floor mats throughout, which is nice to see. These are NLA. The only thing that really doesn't work in the cabin is the exterior temperature. The thermometer doesn't read. I just kind of noticed that, and it's a little, I can probably look into it, but it's a little bit too late at this point since the auction's pretty much live when you see these videos. Yeah, if you've seen the galleries, the plastic vanity mirror covers are all intact. They're not cracked and broken at the hinge. The lights actuate when you flip it up. The AC is ice cold. I took a photo of an infrared gun shooting into the center vent earlier today, and I think it was like 42, 43 degrees, but it's cold. I'm actually going to adjust it. It's freezing my fingertips off. Yeah, the cooling system works really nicely. Obviously we got oil pressure, and the interior is, I mean, the exterior is stellar. The interior is truly a time capsule. I love sitting in this thing. You do have a telescopic steering wheel, which does work. It's on the side somewhere. Here it is. Goes in and out. We got a stop sign, and brakes work very well. Speaking of brakes, I replaced all the rotors, pads, and fluid. The hoses looked perfectly fine. They were super soft and supple. I think they were changed previously, so I didn't really need to worry about that. But yeah, used OEM rotors, I believe, in the front and Zimmerman in the rear, so quality parts. I used Pagid OE style brake pads. I usually put Akabonos on these, but I don't really like the bite point too much. They're a little glassy feeling. These grab. They're dustier, but I like a good brake pedal feel, which this has. Anyways, all the steering components were good. I didn't really have to do anything. The center drag link tie rods were all in really nice shape. There's no clunks in the front end, either on braking or going over speed bumps or going up driveways. It feels really nice and tight. The suspension is stellar on this, as well as the the Michelin tires that I put on. I've got Michelin Defenders, put them on in March when I first got the car. And Michelin's my favorite tire. Obviously, the Defenders work really well with stock 124s. They're super quiet. They got lots of grip. And the sidewall's nice too. What else? I got some exterior tough stuff to cover. I'll do that when I do the walk around. You have one little star in the windshield right down there. It is the original windshield, and I believe it looks like it's been filled previously, so I don't think it's gonna be spreading. I wouldn't want to replace the windshield in this anyways. The original Mercedes-Benz class is like it's created by aliens essentially. They just don't crack, they don't pit. You can take like a 10mm wrench at, you know, highway speeds and it'll just bounce off these windshields. It's basically like tank armor, but yeah, we got the original Becker in here as well. I believe it's a Becker. I might be eating my own words. I don't think they use Bose on these just yet. I think that was the W210s, later ones. I'm gonna turn around here in a second. I gotta show off the performance of the engine. So what I like about E420s is they are half the price of a 500e, and they're 80% of a 500e minus the really cool story of, you know, Porsche helping them out and the assembly line and it being too wide, fender flares, all that good stuff. But these are budget 500es and E500s. They're, what are they, about 279 horsepower, 295 foot-pounds of torque. So they're pretty quick, and I like these transmissions. The 722.3s are super snappy, and they just bang off red line. They're really pleasant, and they're very mechanical feeling. But I mean, as you can hear, there's no clunks, no bangs, no rattles. The interior is super tight. There's a neighborhood. I'm gonna pull around in here. The dash is in really good shape. I really wish you guys could smell the interior. I guess whoever wins it will know what I'm talking about. Oh, you know what? That guy's going really slow. I'm in a V8. I'm gonna go as I one wheel peel slightly. We'll hit the kickdown switch. That's going uphill. They're quick. Double overhead cams, 32 valves, hand-built engine. These the W210s, if you look at my previous listings, still got 4.2 liter M119s, but they were actually cheaper. They had more plastic internals that are prone to failure, and, you know, kind of the ancillary items that help operate the engine were just kind of cheapened. So this is, I mean, obviously you get the facelift in here. People like the facelift more than the pre-facelifts, such as 400Es. It's a much more nicer interior, and you get the really nice glass headlights and the grille, or the hood that goes around the grille. You get some really good updates. But yeah, it's just a super honest E420 that is quite collector grade. I don't know if Dean Lombach's gonna see this auction, but this is, I would argue, is a Dean quality car that I mean, since you're buying it for me, I don't really have the resume that Dean has and all the you know, the good upstanding, you know, all of his other auctions show all of his quality, but whoever gets this is gonna get a really nice, clean car that has original paint and has been gone through as far as service goes. You know, I went through the whole brake system, tires, the suspension's good. Did the wiring harnesses, obviously. But yeah, they're quite fun on the back road. Kick it down to third. I also did shifter bushings, so you've got all new shifter bushings. Lots of suspension travel. Brakes are really nice. The body control is good. But I'm not gonna hoon it. I don't think this car's ever been thrashed on a back road before. Yeah, no lights on the dash. You'll see a service invoice from, I think, January or February of this year, where they put the incorrect weight oil in. I immediately changed it to 5W40. Sorry, 15W40 with some zinc additives, since these engines do like a little bit of zinc in them. But that, I think it was driven a couple 100 miles at very most with that oil in it. I also have pictures of the, I didn't do the valve cover gaskets, they didn't need to be done, they're not leaking, but I did take a picture of the cam lobe to show the cams and the engine internals are in really good shape. I know I'm probably forgetting some stuff, but that pretty much sums up this E420. This is one of my favorite cars. It's probably my favorite platform Mercedes-Benz has ever done. The engineering on these cars is wild. When you work on them, you can see little cutouts where the engineers were like, oh, you're gonna have to put a extended socket through here, so let's cut out a bit of the like a bracket that's blocking whatever bolt you're getting to. It's just really well thought out. And Mercedes-Benz, what is that? That's a groundhog. Anyways, brakes good. But yeah, you can. Mercedes-Benz will never build a car like this again. They're too expensive for what they were. This, I don't know the window sticker on this car, but these were incredibly expensive. If you were to buy something like this new, it'd probably cost as much as an E63 AMG equivalent. These were very expensive to manufacture. The engines were incredibly expensive and complex in a good way. These cars don't blow head gaskets. They don't need timing chains. They don't need timing chain guides. They don't really burn oil. They're really tough. But yeah, Bruno Sacco nailed it. He hit all the park with the design of this car, with the boat tail rear end, the aerodynamics, the low coefficient of drag. It's just a very timeless car, and for what this is gonna sell for, you're still driving around $100,000 V8 E-Class that was pretty much assembled and built by hand when needed. Obviously, you had robots, which were good, especially with the paint process and the galvanization of the steel, which these don't really rust unless, it's just a rust belt car. But this is a southern car, middle Georgia. Look at the undersides. It's insanely clean underneath. But yeah, that's about. I could probably keep talking and driving. I just might, because this is fun. I like driving these cars. And a thorough driving video is important, because whoever's buying this is probably gonna be buying it sight unseen. I'd love for it to stay local to Atlanta, Georgia, but this car might have some legs on it, considering the condition and the recent services I performed on it. All right, well, we're stuck in traffic. Anyways, if you have any questions, please feel free to comment on the comment section. I'm also open to taking phone calls. I'm more than happy to do FaceTime. I can shoot additional video if I missed anything. I'm hoping I didn't. My listings are pretty thorough. And yeah, I really try to accurately represent this car the way it sits, and I'm really proud of this one. This might be my cleanest car that I've had on my Stuttgart Steel account. So yeah, I guess we'll end it there. Thanks for watching, and we're gonna go to the walk around video here in a second. Thanks, guys.